Story 1. If you are the sort of person who worries about what people think of you, you can just decide what people think of you in your own mind and then act like that's true. If that sounds crazy to you, well, that is what you have been doing this whole time. You have just been deciding that they think bad things about you. Just make them think good things. Story 2. ADHD body doubling can help you with tasks like cleaning. For example, if you want to clean your kitchen, put on a YouTube video of someone cleaning their kitchen. It sounds ridiculous, but it's helpful. Story 3. Be selfish to be selfless. Prioritizing self-care and setting boundaries may seem selfish at first. However, by looking after yourself, you maintain the mental and physical health needed to genuinely support and care for others. Story 4. Remove a wart by choking it with thread. This sounds like some kind of medieval quack remedy, but I've tried it twice, and both times it worked like a charm. I had a wart on my knee, which I went to a doctor to have removed. He burned it away. A few months later, it came back right next to the scar where it was burned. Fail. Then I waited for the wart to grow large enough so that I could grip it properly with thread, and I tied the thread around it really tight, to the point that the wart went white and blue due to lack of oxygen. A week later, the dead husk just fell off my knee, didn't leave any noticeable scar, and it has never come back. Apparently, a wart has roots, and if some of them survive, it can grow back. But if you suffocate it, then all of it dies, which is why this method works well. Story 5. Military lessons. 1. Attention to detail. Whatever it takes. Better you than me. If the minimum wasn't good enough, it wouldn't be the minimum. Anything can happen to anybody at any time, even the president. What goes around comes around. Grab, twist, step, stomp. Story 6. If you accidentally write on a whiteboard with a permanent marker, you can erase it by scribbling over it with a non-permanent marker. It should wipe right off. Story 7. Go slow to go fast. For me, it prevents mistakes at the beginning of a project or task that might slow me down significantly in the future because I was too focused on just one aspect of a problem. Story 8. I became really bad at putting off tasks that would take 3 to 4 minutes at most. My spouse used to annoy me by just doing things immediately with a shrug and saying, "Might as well, it's like 3 minutes." But it was actually nice when things generally got done instead of having a long weekend to-do list. So now, if something will take me less than 5 minutes, like folding a small amount of clothes, I just shrug and say, "Might as well do it now." I'm not perfect, but my procrastination has gotten way better. Story 9. I keep telling people that I can get skunks to move using cut oranges. I read somewhere that skunks hate the strong citrus smell of a cut orange. We had a family move into the barn, and I put some cut oranges up under where they were living. They moved out within 12 hours. It has worked for me at least 5 other times. It sounds ridiculous, but it has worked for me. Story 10. To try for failure. It sounds counterintuitive, but it applies to most things. Say you are opening a business and looking to land a client. Aim to get 20 no responses. Odds are somewhere in there will also be your yes. And the no responses will be easier to stomach since it was your goal after all. Story 11. I spent most of my life believing, if it is worth doing, it is worth doing right. Nope. That is perfectionism masquerading as professionalism. Now I go with, if it is worth doing, it is worth doing badly. Said another way, do not let perfect be the enemy of good enough. The truth is, in modern life, we have to be flexible in how we accomplish the day's challenges. It is better to go to the gym for 20 minutes than to skip the gym altogether because you do not have time for your usual 1-hour circuit training. Sometimes you just have time to brush your teeth. You do not have time to brush, floss, mouthwash, etc. We can get the majority of the benefit without beating ourselves up for not being perfect. People like me who are prone to perfectionism end up losing a lot of readily available good benefits and then beat ourselves for failing to hit all the tasks perfectly, and it spirals. Do not play that game. Story 12. Hiring a lazy person because they will find the most efficient way to do the job can actually be a viable strategy if you apply it well. I have witnessed many times very hardworking and driven people doing something the same way for years, And then their replacement is an intelligent but lazy person who quickly finds a way to accomplish the same task with fewer inputs required. Story 13. That 45 seconds of the coldest shower you can handle at the end of your shower has the same effect as 5 cups of coffee. It works. Alternatively, if you throw a pot of freezing cold water on your spouse unexpectedly over the top of the shower, the resulting cardio from the chase is quite refreshing. Story 14. Take a breath. It sounds dismissive, but it is actually a good way to get a handle on yourself when under stress. Also, take a drink of water. Hey, I know you just got chewed out by the boss and might get fired, but have you tried breathing? Story 15. In many situations, just keep your opinion to yourself. Most people do not want the real truth. They want the comfort and validation of thinking that their personal beliefs are correct. Story 16. To make friends, you just have to pretend to already be friends. Sounds weird, but it works. Don't go overboard and force anything too intimate, like unexpected hugs or sharing trivia you shouldn't know. However, if someone you're trying to befriend arrives and you smile and say, "Oh man, I'm glad you're here. Great to see you," they will respond to that because people generally like being liked. Story 17. Use quarrels to solve problems. Healthy arguments can clarify positions and promote deep understanding, but they must be based on respect and understanding. Otherwise, this method is very risky. Story 18. Things won't change unless you clean up your mess. I was listening to Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly for the first time a couple of weeks ago. His aunt used to tell him that all the time, so he included it in one of the songs on the album, and it's been stuck in my head ever since. Story 19. Quite often, the times when we feel like we need to rush and get things done are the exact times we should be taking a step back, pausing, and reevaluating. Story 20. Just accept it. Stop fighting it and accept it. The path becomes clear for so many things when you do this, and it totally eliminates the suffering. Like accept you are unattractive, accept you are slow, accept that this person in your life is unpleasant and will not change. Now what? Story 21. If you're cramming overnight to study for an exam, it's better to stop and sleep, even if only a couple of hours, than to continue studying more material and writing the exam on no sleep. Your sleep helps you consolidate your memories and retain information, so you will perform better on the exam than if you had tried to continue cramming and read more material for the exam. Story 22. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Better to exercise for 10 minutes than not at all. Better to clean for a few minutes than not at all. That kind of thing. Same kind of thing as better a short note written than a long letter intended. Story 23. Look at your problems as if they are someone else's. What would I tell a friend or a stranger to do if they asked me about this situation? It helps take the emotion out of it and see things more objectively. You probably know you are being taken advantage of, and this really helped me start on the road to saying no, which is massively underrated. Story 24. A wise man once told me, the less money you have in your bank account, the more likely you lose the ability to say no at your workplace. I didn't understand the true meaning of it until I started working full-time, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Story 25. I called United Parcel Service multiple times and was getting frustrated navigating the voice prompts. Kept getting me nowhere. My friend, seeing how frustrated I was, said, just say F*** at every prompt. Trust me. It worked. Story 26. Consistently put part of your income away where, for a significant portion of your entire life, you will not be able to use it to buy things you actually want or take care of problems in your life. Story 27. I don't give a shit attitude makes you appealing and interesting to people, rather than looking desperate and thirsty. People smell desperation, and that is very off-putting. Story 28. At first, stop trying to be liked by everyone might sound counterintuitive. After all, being liked often feels essential for success and connection. But actively letting go of the need to please everyone can actually improve self-confidence, resilience, and authenticity in ways that make a profound difference. Constantly seeking approval can lead to a diluted version of yourself. In trying to appease everyone, you risk compromising your values, suppressing your opinions, and even developing a form of burnout from managing others' perceptions. This advice works because, by prioritizing your own values over universal acceptance, you cultivate genuine self-respect, which often naturally attracts respect from others as well. Moreover, focusing less on external validation and more on self-approval enhances personal growth. When you're not driven by others' opinions, you're freer to take risks, pursue your goals with conviction, and build more authentic relationships. This approach can feel isolating initially, but over time, it brings more clarity, personal fulfillment, and meaningful connections. So while it may sound dismissive at first, stop trying to be liked by everyone is a liberating mindset shift that, paradoxically, helps you connect more deeply with yourself and with others who truly appreciate who you are. Story 29. A friend of mine was an exchange student in the United States. When she got food poisoning, her host mom offered her a Sprite as a remedy. Firstly, she was terrified. Secondly, she was terrified by the fact that it actually worked. Story 30. A piece of advice that sounds bad but actually works is, do not try to solve your problems, as stepping back can lead to clarity and natural resolutions. Story 31. Take time to rest when you need to work. It does not sound very productive, but taking regular breaks can help you regain focus, reduce stress, and improve your overall efficiency. Taking 10 to 15 minutes to rest can give you a boost of energy to be more productive later. Story 32. This is my mom's quote. People can't be happy all the time. It's gotten me through my lowest lows. It's okay to be sad. And you can't expect happiness every waking moment. Take the good with the bad. Story 33. Step out of your comfort zone at the risk of looking foolish. Often fear of failure or judgment holds us back from new opportunities. Sometimes it is the stupid steps that lead to unexpected discoveries, new acquaintances, and personal growth. Story 34. Forget the goal for a while and focus on the process. Obsession with the goal can lead to frustration, especially if progress is slow. It is better to enjoy the process itself and the small successes, and the ultimate goal will come naturally. Story 35. Going out and touching some grass actually took you out of the amount of hatred there is usually on the internet and shows how the world is different from what it seems on the web. Story 36. Sometimes, just ignore it sounds unhelpful, but I have found that stepping back from a problem can lead to clarity and better solutions. It helps to reduce stress and see things from a new perspective. Story 37. Just give up. Sometimes, stepping back and letting go of something that is not working can free you up to focus on new opportunities and ideas that you might not have considered otherwise. Story 38. Fake it till you make it. It may sound inauthentic, but acting confidently, even if you don't feel it yet, often leads to real confidence and skill over time. Story 39. Stop trying to be perfect. It sounds counterproductive, but letting go of perfection actually helps you get more done and reduces stress. When you are not obsessing over every little detail, you feel freer to take risks, make mistakes, and actually improve. Turns out, good enough can be a lot more productive than perfect. Story 40. The secret to happiness is low expectations. Not low as in expecting things to be bad, but low as in minimal. Holding as little prejudgment as possible. Not expecting anything to turn out exactly how you expect. Reducing those expectations. If you expect bad things to happen, they will seem to happen more frequently. If you expect good things to happen, you will likely be disappointed. Do neither. Story 41. Sometimes people say to fake it until you make it. It sounds weird, but acting confident can really help you feel more confident and can open doors you didn't think you could get through. Story 42. Make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails. Throw away the plan. Leonard Smart says the best plans are actually just improvisation. Story 43. I was in a Ringling Brothers circus camp as a kid. The best advice from the clown teacher was this: if you mess up in front of an audience, pretend it was a part of the show and keep going. I literally do this all the time now, and in 90% of the situations I've used it, no one has thought the wiser. I kept getting bullied as a kid, and my mom gave me a piece of wisdom regarding people being unkind. Most people who take digs at you aren't actually talking about you, they're talking about themselves. That one has helped alleviate certain heartbreaks I've had, as well as keeping my self-esteem semi-normal. I had a boyfriend who got into a physical fight with his dad. I told him I had been in a similar scenario, and he promptly told me this: "You haven't been in the same scenario before. You've only been in something similar, so stop saying it's the same. No one has experienced the same thing." He was totally right. It single-handedly changed how I comfort people and give advice. Story 44. Advice doesn't work in all contexts. Don't use them as a universal answer for your problems. It also depends on the person, so advice needs to be personalized instead of using generic ones. Story 45. The fastest way to get over someone is to get under someone else. So many people get back together because they miss consistent sex. If you get it anywhere else, it pushes the same buttons. Story 46. Specifically, when driving a semi-truck, if one of your steer tires blows, you need to hit the accelerator to stabilize and then slowly come to a stop. If you hit the brake, which is unfortunately the natural knee-jerk reaction, you will likely wreck your truck. Story 47. When I was a child, my mother was not around, and my father was busy with work, so she left me with my aunt to take care of me. My aunt had a strange temper. Every time I called my mother to complain, she would say, "You can listen to what she said is right, and you can listen to what she said wrong." A sentence that sounds very ordinary will make me suffer for the rest of my life.